The clock reads 2:47 local time. Somewhere over the Persian Gulf, a flight of B-2 Spirit stealth bombers, invisible to radar, invisible to the naked eye, crosses into Iranian airspace at 50,000 feet. Nobody on the ground knows they are there. Nobody on the ground will know until the sky turns white. This is Operation Epic Fury, and I was at the nerve center when it all began. My name doesn't matter. What matters is what I saw. What matters is what happened on the night of February 28th, 2026, and every single night after it, because this is not a story that ends in a week. This is a story that is still being written in fire and smoke, in the Strait of Hormuz and the skies above Tehran, in bunkers buried 60 feet underground and on the flight decks of carrier strike groups that stretch across the Arabian Sea like floating cities of steel and air power. And if you think you've heard everything about this war, you haven't. Drop everything. This is the real story. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper gives the signal at 2038 Universal Time Coordinated. Simultaneously, on the other side of a secure satellite link, President Trump authorizes the order to proceed. Within minutes, the most sophisticated military machine in human history begins to move. U.S. Navy warships, cruisers and destroyers positioned across the Gulf open their vertical launch systems and send Tomahawk Block V cruise missiles screaming toward hardened targets hundreds of miles inland. Each missile flies at 550 miles per hour, threading through valleys, hugging terrain, guided by GPS and terrain contour matching to within meters of its designated aim point. On the ground in western Iran, the first explosions bloom like orange flowers in the dark. Air defense radar sites, command and control bunkers, hardened missile launch facilities, gone in seconds. If you're watching this right now, drop a comment. What did you know about Operation Epic Fury before today? But the Tomahawks are just the opening act. Behind them come the heavy bombers. B-1B Lancers, the supersonic Bone, and B-52H Stratofortress loaded with GBU-28 bunker-busting bombs. And then the crown jewel, the B-2 Spirits, each one carrying a pair of massive ordnance penetrators, the GBU-57A-B, a 30,000-pound bomb designed specifically to destroy targets buried under 60 feet of reinforced concrete. These bombs fall on Iran's hardened ballistic missile production facilities. The ground shakes for miles. Seismographs in Turkey register the impacts. This is what happens when America decides to go to work. At the same moment, the Israeli Air Force launches what will become the largest combat sortie in its history, 200 fighter jets crossing into Iranian airspace simultaneously. F-35 Air stealth fighters. F-15 Iran strike aircraft. Each pilot has a target package locked before wheels up. The IAF strikes 500 military objectives in western and central Iran in a single wave, dropping over 1,200 precision-guided munitions in 24 hours. And on the ground at the compound of Iran's supreme leader, everything goes dark. Share this video right now, because what happened next changes everything you thought you knew about this war. The IRGC scrambles its air defenses. Radar operators at the Mersad Integrated Air Defense System begin painting contacts. SAR-15 Gauntlet short-range systems go active. Two of M1 batteries spin their antenna arrays. But American electronic warfare aircraft, EA-18G Growlers launching from USS Abraham Lincoln, are already blinding them, jamming their frequencies, flooding their screens with ghost tracks. The Iranian radar operators are flying blind inside their own country. F divided by a -18E Super Hornets and Marine Corps F-35BS pour through the gaps, striking IRGC air bases from Tabriz to Isfahan, catching F-14 Tomcat fighters, Iran's aging American-built interceptors, still on the ground. One by one, the jets that Iran has operated since the Shah's era are destroyed at their hard stands. The Iranian Air Force, which never truly recovered from the 1979 revolution's purges, ceases to exist as a functional fighting force inside 72 hours. But Iran is not finished. Not even close. The IRGC's missile forces, dispersed, mobile, hidden in tunnels and mountain passes across the Zagros, begin firing back. Shahab's 3 ballistic missiles, Garda 110s, The newer fatter hypersonic glide vehicles. Over the first week of the war, Iran fires more than 500 ballistic and naval missiles and nearly 2,000 Shahd series drones at American and Israeli targets across the region. Some of them get through. A drone attack in Kuwait kills 6 American service members on March 1st. A KC-135 Stratotanker, a massive aerial refueling aircraft, goes down in western Iraq on March 12th, killing all 6 crew. 15 more Americans are wounded when Iranian missiles strike a Saudi air base housing US forces on March 28th. This war has a cost, and every commander at CENTCOM feels the weight of it. Leave a like on this video. Every single one tells the algorithm to show this story to more people who need to see it. At sea, the picture is equally brutal. The United States Navy begins methodically dismantling the Iranian fleet. A US submarine, the boat name classified, her position unknown until after the fact, fires a torpedo at the Iranian frigate Iris Dina operating in the Indian Ocean off Sri Lanka. The ship sinks. 87 crew members are lost. 32 are rescued by the Sri Lankan Navy. Hours later, a US-Israeli airstrike sends a Soleimani-class corvette to the bottom of the harbour at Bandar Abbas. By the end of the first week, CENTCOM reports that 92% of Iran's large surface combatants have been eliminated. The Persian Gulf, which Iran had threatened to shut forever, is being contested metre by metre, missile by missile. Approximately 2,000 vessels and 20,000 seafarers are stranded in the Strait of Hormuz. Oil prices spike. Markets tremble. The whole world is watching. Above Tehran, the war has a different character. CENTCOM's targeting priorities were clear from day one: command and control nodes, missile production facilities, UAV factories, radar installations, and nuclear infrastructure. The Arak heavy water reactor, a key component of any pathway to weapons-grade plutonium, is struck by the Israeli Air Force on March 27th. The facility used to generate tens of millions of dollars annually for the Iranian Atomic Energy Organization. Now it is a ruins. The B-2s return to bunker-buster work at hardened sites near Fordow and Natanz. The IAEA Director General warns of catastrophic risk near Bushehr. The margin for error in this war is measured in meters and milliseconds. Meanwhile, something extraordinary happens in the sky over Tehran. An Israeli F-35 Ayadea, operating in stealth mode and fully within its flight envelope, detects an airborne contact on its AN/APG-31 AESA radar. The contact is identified as a Russian-built Yak-130 trainer fighter pressed into combat service. The Adea's pilot achieves a lock, fires a Python 5 infrared-guided missile, and destroys the aircraft. It is the first time in recorded history that a stealth fighter has shot down a manned aircraft in air-to-air combat. Military aviation will never be the same. Share this with someone who needs to understand what 2026 really looks like. On the ground in Iraq, Iran's proxy forces, Kataib Hezbollah, Harakat Hezbollah al-Nujaba, elements of the Popular Mobilization Forces, begin striking American positions with 107mm and 122mm rockets and Katyusha barrages. Iranian-supplied Zolfahar ballistic missiles hit a Peshmerga base north of Erbil in Iraqi Kurdistan, killing 6 Kurdish fighters. American forces respond with precision HIMARS strikes, M270 multiple launch rocket systems firing GMLRS-guided rockets at militia command positions. The counter-battery radar systems, Q-53 Firefinder arrays, locate launch points within seconds of missile firing. The retaliation is measured in minutes. In Lebanon, Hezbollah opens a second front. More than 3,500 rockets and drones fired at northern Israel since March 2nd. Iron Dome batteries and the David Sling missile defense system work overtime, but the sheer volume of fire tests every system to its limit. The Israeli military, now fighting on 3 axes simultaneously, Iran, Iraq, Lebanon, begins calling up reservists. 70,000 soldiers mobilized within the first 2 weeks. The IDF Chief of Staff warns government ministers that the force is under severe strain. Comment below, do you think a ceasefire is coming before April 6th? And yet, amid all of this, something shifts. Quietly, carefully, Pakistan begins passing messages between Washington and Tehran. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff confirms it. A 15-point American action list reaches Iranian hands, proposing restrictions on Iran's nuclear program and the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran rejects it and presents 5 counterpoints. The diplomatic clock is ticking. Trump sets a deadline April 6th. Iran says it has not been in direct talks at all. 2 narratives. 1 war. And somewhere in the space between them, the possibility, barely alive, barely breathing, of a way out. This is where we are right now. 29 days into Operation Epic Fury. More than 11,000 targets struck by the combined US-Israeli campaign. Iran's ballistic missile launch rate has dropped dramatically, depleted stockpiles, destroyed factories, degraded launcher sites. The Iranian regime has not collapsed. The new supreme leader, Mujtaba Khamenei, reads his father's old speeches on state television. But the military infrastructure that protected the regime, the missiles, the drones, the warships, the command bunkers, is being dismantled piece by piece, sortie by sortie, torpedo by torpedo. I have spent my career studying war, planning it, executing it. And I will tell you something that every honest soldier eventually admits: there are no winners in a conflict like this. There are objectives achieved and objectives failed. There are targets destroyed and lives lost on every side: American, Iranian, Israeli, Lebanese, Yemeni, Iraqi. Every one of those lives belonged to someone who had people who loved them. Every one of those losses echoes forward through decades. Operation Epic Fury is unprecedented in its precision and its scale. But precision is not painlessness. Surgical is not bloodless. And every destroyed missile launcher was once someone's job, someone's post, someone's reason to come home at night. If this video reached you, share it with someone. Because the more people understand what is actually happening, the louder the demand for a real solution becomes. The strait must reopen. The missiles must stop flying. The negotiators need to find the 20 inches of common ground between 15 American points and 5 Iranian ones. Because the alternative, another month, another 30 days of this, is a Middle East that looks nothing like the one we entered on February 28th, and a world that will feel the economic and strategic aftershocks for a generation. I believe in the strength of American arms. I have seen what they can do. But I also believe, I have to believe, that strength without a path to peace is just destruction with a budget. The people of Iran did not start this war. Millions of them marched against their own government in January, at enormous cost to themselves. The people of Israel did not ask to spend another generation under rocket fire. The people of Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, the Gulf, they are caught between powers that are not theirs and paying prices that are not theirs to pay. So like this video if you believe there is still a diplomatic path forward. Share it if you want more people to understand what is at stake. Drop a comment and tell me, what does a just peace in 2026 actually look like? Because the bombers will keep flying until someone decides they don't have to. The missiles will keep launching until someone picks up the phone and means it. And the world, our world, will keep holding its breath until somebody blinks. I hope they blink soon. I hope we all do. Because the only operation worth running at the end of all of this is the one that brings everyone home.